Good afternoon, girls. Today we are going to see an introduction about financial management. You are all familiar with what is finance and what is its role in business, everything, etc. But apart from that, being a special topic, we are going to see the introduction about financial management. Let us go through the slides. Yeah, just before starting as we commerce students, you all know very well what is finance. Yes, tell me what is finance. Finance is nothing but that is a lifeblood and nerve center of a business. How the circulation of blood is very important for us. The same way, finance is also important for the smooth functioning of a business. It is also very essential part and universal lubricant that keeps the firms dynamic. And no, as we all know that no business can function uh, whether you take a big business or medium or small scale industry, nothing can be started without the amount of finance. So right from the very beginning, the starting from conceiving of an idea and the finance is needed to promote or to establish a business or acquire fixed assets, making investigations such as market surveys, develop product, keep men and machines at work, encourage management to make progress and create them. So, if you see all this, for even if the existing business wanted for any further improvement, they need finance or to expand its business. The finance is the foremost one. So, finance has become an integral part of the firm. Unless the finance is managed in a profitable manner, the firm cannot reach its full potential for growth and success. So, in order to manage finance, a new management discipline was conceived that is called as financial management. Now we are going to see what is the meaning. I've given the meaning here. Financial management is a management of finance of an organization in order to achieve its objectives. So if the foremost objective of any organization is to achieve its objective. So every organization wanted to get more profit from its business. Nowadays, if you see, profit alone cannot function in any business. They also going for the further progress of its employees, shareholders, etc. Okay, so finance management may be defined as a planning, organizing, directing, and controlling finance activities in an organization. And if you see that again, I want to continue the same. Financial management is concerned with what acquisition of funds and their optimum utilization, how the funds have to be acquired. Not only acquiring funds is enough for a business, how the acquired funds has to be properly utilized for the growth and success of an organization. So it is all about acquiring funds at minimum cost. When you're acquiring funds, no, you have to see the finance manager has to see that he is not going to pay more interest on debt. So you should know how to minimize the cost when you acquire the funds and how the firm can get a maximum return, optimum return by its optimum utilization. So you can see the second point given here. Finance management is all about what? Acquiring funds at minimum cost and generate that funds must generate optimum returns by its optimum utilization. So when you see it is seen in a very simple way, it is this FM is concerned mainly about three decisions mainly: investment decision, financing decision, and the working capital decision. Not to maximize the wealth of the company. That is, what do you mean by maximizing the wealth of a company? Nothing but in increasing the shareholders' wealth. How the shareholders can be protected, how best the company can give the maximum to its shareholders. That is what about. Okay, now the next, if you see, financial management answers the following questions. What are the questions? First, where to invest? When you are acquiring, when the finance manager acquire funds, nothing but raises funds. You should know where to invest and how to raise funds and how much earnings out of the profits, how much they have to retain and how much have to be distributed. That comes under dividend decision. And how to manage the working capital, that is called as working capital management decision. And next, the last one is called as, hence, that is all these decisions equals to the wealth of a company. So the wealth of a company is mainly based on four important decisions that a finance manager should take in with. That is investment decisions, financing decision, dividend decision, and working capital management decision. That is all is nothing but is equal to the wealth of the company. Okay. If you see the definitions, I have taken many definitions are given by many authors, but still there, I took a very simple definition given by Howard and Upton. He says the financial management is an application of general managerial principles to the area of financing decision making. So whenever the finance manager are taking any decisions, he should see that how he can apply the management principles. I think you all know that there are 14 principles of management. Is all those principles are being applied when the manager takes any decisions for the company. That is what given by Howard and Upton. Second one is given by Gutman and Dougal. They say that business finance can be broadly defined as the activity concerned with planning, raising, controlling, administering the funds used in the business. So the firm must know how they have to plan for raising funds. Once the funds are being raised, how it has to be effectively used and how they can control and administer these funds. All these comes under the financial management. Then main, if you see the last one, see here, S.C. Kuchel says that financial management deals with what? Procuring funds. Not only procuring, is it enough if you only procure the funds alone? No, you should know that the finance manager should know how those funds have to be effectively utilized in the business. If you do not know how to handle it, how to properly utilize it, then what? There's no use of being the funds being raised. So if the manager did not know where to invest, how much to invest, how much has to be retained, if all this he did not manage, he was not able to manage, and the growth of the company, the wealth of the company will be affected. So that's what is said by S.C. Kuchel. If you see the nature, if you know now you know what is financial management, is it mainly what is it concerned with procuring of funds and how those funds have to be properly utilized for the growth and success of the business. That is what about FM. So what is the nature? If you see, it is an any organization, the organization must know how to manage. It is an FM is an financial management is an indispensable organ of a management. It is an integral part of decision making process. Yes, I think you all agree this, and it is also to be continuous. So once you have been taken more steps in raising funds and invested and keeping quiet, is it enough? No, definitely not. It is a continuous process. Every stage, every time, you have to check whether the amount which what you have invested, are you getting the good returns? How these returns again have to be circulated for the growth of the business, for the expansion of the business, for the further development of the business, for the future of the business. So continuously the manager should know how to manage the finance for the growth and success of an organization. It is again in nature, if you see, financial management is a centralized nature of finance function. That is, I said, no, the three decisions: investment decision, financing decisions, and dividend decision. Then if you see again, it is the FM is helpful in the decision making of top management. Yes, definitely. Top management, no, they should know how to manage the finance. So the financial management helps in decision making of top management. It is pervasive in nature. It has a wide scope and it helps in measurement of performance. If the company a company's performance has to be measured. That all this measurement is based on the how to manage the funds fund by the finance manager. Then if you see next one is functions. What is the functions of the finance manager? First, you must know how much capital is needed. Estimation. You should know how to estimate the capital total requirements of the company. Second, determination of capital composition. Capital composition, if I say here, how much should be in the nature of long-term source of funds and short-term sources of funds, like that, he has to know the debt equity proportion. You should know all that. Then the choice of the sources of funds. Then you should know how to make choices of funds. Then how these funds have to be invested. It is called as investment of funds. How that funds has to be disposal of surplus. Suppose if the company gets a good profit, how they are going to distribute that profit. That decision has to be taken by the finance management. Then you should know how to manage the cash, and you should know how to control the finance. All these are the things which takes part of the financial manager. Next, if you see the scope or elements of financial management, so as I said earlier, nothing very simple, two terms it needs. One is procuring the funds and how to utilize effectively in the business for its growth and expansion. Okay, that is what about FM. Don't think too much. Just procuring and how to utilize those funds in an effective manner. So for doing these two things, no, the manager should take three major decisions. One is investment decision, where to invest, how to raise the finance, and how the firm is going, he's going to distribute the surplus to the shareholders. Okay. Then if you see investment decision, it involves type and volume of assets have to be acquired. So what are the assets which the firm require? It involves two main decision groups. One is long-term investment decisions, other one is short-term investment decision. Whether how much money that he is going to invest in long-term assets, how much money that he is going to retain for the circulation of the working capital. It is called a short-term decisions. Okay, so when he's going for long-term decisions, you should be very careful. He should not invest entire money in the acquiring the fixed assets. He should see that he keeps some money for the working capital of a business. So you should know to take a decision regarding the both. Okay, the next most important decisions in investment is what is the optimal firm size is, what are specific assets that has to be acquired, and what assets should be reduced or eliminated. Because sometimes, he would have thought that the money is invested unwantedly in some assets. So how to reduce it, and how those money can be those assets can be eliminated. All these comes under the investment decisions. Next, we move on with the financial decision, how to raise funds. It involves the decision about the various sources of funds and the extent to which it has to be obtained. So a company cannot depend on only one source of finance. For example, not only the company cannot depend only on capital alone. They have only raising capital, issuing capital alone won't be enough. They should go for other things also. And going for the debt capital financing. When they go for debt capital financing, the financial manager should examine that the cost of its relevant cost, period of financing, degree of risk and control, etc. Okay. Then most important decisions comes under this financial R. Number one is what should be the proportion of equity and debt in the capital structure. You all know on the liability side, you can see the capital and the debt. If I say the capital may be in the form of equity capital or preference capital, and the other sources you can see is the debt capital. There is like issue of debentures, issue of bonds, all comes at a debt capital. So you should see what is the proportion of equity and the debt, and from which sources the equity should be raised. Whether suppose if they want to raise money, how many shares have to be raised through equity or preference shares, that decisions have to be taken. then from which, suppose if the manager is going for the debt financing, he should take a decision on from which sources the debt should be raised, whether by issue of debentures or by raising a long-term loans. So all the decisions are very important, which comes under the finance area. Third one is called as dividend decision. It involves nothing but, you know very well that investment decision and finance decision helps a manager to get profit for his business. So it involves decisions whether to distribute the profits as dividend to shareholders or to retain the profits and reinvest in the business. So when company gets profit, when the company, definitely, if the manager takes a good investment and finance decision, definitely he will get a profit, good profit for the business. Whether he is going to retain the entire profit in the business, or he is going to fully distribute to shareholders in the form of dividend, or else partly some amount to be retained, or and some amount has to be distributed in the form of dividend. All these comes under dividend decision. The decision. Generally, a management should not actually distribute the entire profits to the shareholders. It is not good. Suppose if the company wanted to go for expansion or diversification or further growth, changing the line of business, anything, they need money. So where again they go and raise, definitely the company should not distribute the entire profits as dividend. It has to retain some profit so that they can reinvest in the business. All these comes under dividend decision. Okay, so like this example, I've given some points here. Decisions: how much earnings should be retained for the reinvestment opportunities, and how much earnings should be distributed as dividend to the shareholders. And these are the decisions which comes under dividend decision. The last one is called as asset management decisions. Finance manager has varying degrees of operating responsibility over assets. So he should know how to manage existing assets effectively and efficiently. And also he has a greater emphasis on the current assets, nothing but working capital management than fixed asset management, because the working capital management is nothing but required at present. So you should know whether yeah, how much money and how much, what are the assets that he is going to retain in his business. All this comes under asset management decisions. And I think in today we have seen about what is interaction of what is FM, and what is the meaning of an FM, and what are the major decisions. Some definitions we saw today, and functions of a finance manager, and also three important decisions which a finance manager has to take, that comes under the scope of business. In the next class, we'll see the objectives of business. Okay, the two major objectives in business are profit maximization and wealth maximization, that we will see in the next class. Thank you, guys.